Heyo everyone, I'm Kronos, and this is part 4 of my Baldur's Gate 3 Honor Mode speedrun and achievement tutorial for patch 6. This part will cover all of Act 3 up to the end of the game. As always, if you enjoy these videos, make sure to like and subscribe to stay updated for more videos to come in the future. So here, this is the start of Act 3, we have just entered Rivington, and we're going to start making our way to Worm's Rock here. So what we're going to do is switch to Jaheira and make sure your party is not grouped up. And what we're going to have Jaheira do is jump all the way to the castle. We're going to kill Gortash and then head into the lower city here. And there's going to be slight route alterations based off your being on keyboard and mouse and controller. And there's multiple ways to do this, so I'll show each one of them. So here at the start, this is going to be the same for keyboard and mouse and controller. I'm just going to cast Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall on Jaheira, and make sure your party is not grouped up here. And we're just going to start making our way down to the entrance to Worm's Rock here. So the entrance is blocked by all the guards since they won't let you come through. But what we're going to do is once we reach this point, we're going to cast Invisibility on ourselves. So when we jump across past these guards, we won't get seen. And we're just going to jump in this direction. So here, I cast Enhanced Sleep Featherfall. Just make sure your spells are up at all times here for this part. And you're going to cast Invisibility right here. So here we're going to jump on this rock. Jump to this side here. Jump on top of this roof. Jump to this roof. Jump. Just keep making your way this direction, all the way to the very edge of this roof right here at this corner. So once we reach this point, it's very important to keep invisible when we jump to this side because all the guards will be wandering around here, and this is a trespassing area. So if you are worried about not having enough time, you do have an additional spell slot here for invisibility. Note you only have 2 casts of invisibility to make it all the way to this side, and then all the way to the entrance here with Gortash's coronation ceremony going on. But if you are fast enough, you can get there while still invisible for a couple turns. So you would only need 1 cast. But to be safe, you can just cast both of them right here. And when you jump through here to this side, you're going to have to be pretty quick here, since we're going to enter this door and enter through this set of double doors here, and this is where the ceremony happens. So here, there's multiple options you can do to interact with Gortash here. The easiest one is to cancel your invisibility and talk to Gortash. And the second option is to kidnap Gortash. So I'll show how the Gortash text works. So you can cancel your invisibility or just talk to him, and the dialogue with Gortash will start. So here we're just going to right click through all this dialogue that's going on here, and we're going to just choose option 1 for a while. And once we get to this point, just say we're going to be allies with Gortash.
You can trust me.
We'll defeat Orin, and then here we just say I must go, and we're just going to witness the ceremony here. And from here, we're just going to smash through that last piece of dialogue, and this is where we get left off here, with Gortash just standing here, and everyone else scattering about. So here, there's multiple options that you have to deal with Gortash here as well. And I'll do the kidnapping option here. So what you can do with Gortash is you can kidnap him by doing the same kidnap thing that we did in Act 2 with the left and right click. And that will cause Gortash to become attached to us here. So from here, we're going to cast Enhanced Sleep, and make sure we just don't cancel any actions here, as we jump all the way to the bottom of these stairs here. From here, we're going to open these sets of doors, make our way to this drawbridge here, and then from here, we're going to cancel the kidnap, so Gortash gets left here, and we're just going to throw him off the edge, and make sure the death symbol is red as we throw him off. If you fail to throw, you have unlimited amount of chances since his AI is broken. And yeah, that's how we defeat Gortash. Then you pick up his gauntlet. This will start this cutscene here. We're going to leave. And make sure you don't go too close to this area again, because all these enemies will be aggroed since you just killed Gortash. And just start making your way to the lower city here. Now I'll show the faster route on keyboard and mouse. So we will still be doing the kidnapping and everything here, but I just want to demonstrate how the speedrun does it, which is slightly different. We're going to be using improvised melee weapon on Gortash, so we're able to skip the cutscene that happens with Gortash. That saves quite a bit of time here. And we're going to show how it looks like with just one invisibility cast from here. So at this point you should have Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall still, so there's no need to recast. But then here we're going to cast Invisibility and start making our way this way. And if we do it fast, it should look something like this. So just going to jump on these rooftops, jump here, making our way to this rooftop, and then this guard's going to come here and open this door as we jump here. So we're just going to jump right to the door here, open this set of double doors, and then really quickly what we're going to do here is walk into this room and use improvised melee weapon on Gortash, and then left click all the way to the other side of the room. And once we pass this set of steel watchers, we're going to right click to cancel it. And now Gortash is just not able to talk to us or have any dialogue with us, so we don't have to wait for that entire dialogue sequence. From here we can kidnap him the same way like normal, with just left right click, and then once again cast your spell for Enhanced Sleep, and just make your way down to the bottom, where we're going to just go ahead here. This is where we'll get a dialogue with one of the Steel Watchers here, and we're just going to say option 1, and that's the only dialogue we'll have here. From here we just jump to this drawbridge once again, and what we're going to do is cancel the kidnap, throw him off like before, pick up the nether stone, and then just jump to the lower city and enter it. Now I'll show the route on controller here. So what we're going to do is same thing. We're going to just do the Enhanced Sleep Featherfall on Jaheira. So just once again, make sure to choose your spells. And then from here, we're going to cast Invisibility. And we're just going to jump the same path as before. So we jump here, jump here. Once again, you do have 2 casts of Invisibility here, so there's no need to worry. But here, we're going to make something slightly different here. So we're going to jump in this direction to discover this waypoint here. And this is the south span of Worm's Crossing. And what that does is we're going to be using that waypoint to deal with Gortash later here. So from here, we're just going to keep making our way up and forwards. Just keep jumping on the rooftops of the buildings as we go. And once again, if you run out of your spells, just recast them. So we have Enhanced Sleep, Featherfall again. Keep jumping across here. Jump here. And then make sure you have invisibility active here as we jump across to this side. From here, we're just going to make our way forwards here. And here, I'm just going to go through the dialogue options once again with Gortash. Here, I'll just speak to him here, and that will also work instead of just canceling your invisibility.
I understand. Next.
And here, we're just going to mash through this dialogue here for a bit.
I can't. What? I can't. That. Who? The faceless in your.
And then here, I must go. And then we go through the ceremony, and here we are. So after the dialogue with Gortash, what we're going to be doing is we're going to kidnap Gortash in a different way, since the standard kidnapping method on keyboard and mouse doesn't work. And we're going to be using improvised melee weapon instead on Gortash here. So when we select Gortash, we're going to be selecting an object in the world here, preferably someone that's far away so we have enough time, so let's say around this distance here. And what we're going to do is, while we're moving with Gortash here, we're going to switch to our map, and we're going to fast travel to south span of Worms Crossing here. So that is right trigger, left to map, Y, and then south span of Worms Crossing. And once we select that, we're going to be traveling all the way over there with Gortash in hand. So it should look something like this if done correctly.
Fine.
So now we've traveled with Gortash with us here, and now Gortash is all the way to the bottom here. But once you bring Gortash out to south span of Worms Crossing, what we're going to do is use improvised melee weapon, and we're going to have him thrown off the edge here. So right here you can see we can't really bring Gortash to this point like normal, but we have to manually path Gortash all the way there, and we have to use the game's pathfinding system by slowly dragging around here so it doesn't bug out. And once we get all the way to this point with Gortash, what we're going to do is cancel the improvised melee action before we reach the edge here. So it should look something like this. We drag Gortash all the way here. We press B, and you should be able to bring Gortash all the way to the edge. If you do cancel it early like I did, just do it again. Just cancel it quickly. And here, Gortash is all the way at the side here. Now from here, we're going to shove Gortash off the edge, and it should just basically kill Gortash here. So once we kill Gortash, we should be able to jump all the way down to pick up his Netherstone. What we're going to be doing is casting Enhanced Sleep here, and Featherfall. As we jump down to Gortash's corpse. And looting it. And from here, I believe we just pick up the gauntlet, since that's the only thing we need. And go through all this dialogue, and we're good to go. But once you have looted Gortash's body for the Netherstone, what we're going to do here is start making our way back up through Worms Rock. So we're just going to be casting Enhanced Sleep Featherfall, and then we're just going to jump back up the way we came. It could be kind of finicky with how these jumps are, but yeah, it's just how it is in this game on controller. So we're going to jump up to the waypoint here, And what we're going to do is switch over to our Tav here. And with our Tav, we're going to just travel to that location. So we're going to have our Tav travel to the south span of Worms Crossing here. And what we're going to do is have Jaheira make her way all the way across the top side. And what we're going to do is just have our Tav ready to cast Invisibility, since Jaheira should have very few, if not any, Invisibility casts left. So what we're going to do here is cast Featherfall and Enhanced Sleep on Jaheira. And then we switch to our Tav, who's going to cast Invisibility on Jaheira here. And we're going to switch to Jaheira, and Jaheira is going to make her way very quickly to the other side. And this way we're going to have enough time to get all the way to the next part without our invisibility running out, since all these enemies will be aggroed here. We're jumping to the right side of this roof here, so we can jump past this drawbridge here, so we don't have to take the longer path around. And from here, we're just jumping across Worms Rock Fortress here, past all these aggroed guards here, which you can see in red. And once we get all the way to the other side, we can use the path to Lower City here, and we should be good to go. Now we're in the Lower City, and we're going to go ahead and get a couple fireworks, as this is used for the final boss fight at the end. And we're just going to have our Tav here make our journey all the way to the fireworks shop here. So what we're going to be doing is casting Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall, and we're going to just follow this path here. There's multiple different ways you can get there. Just jumping on this roof is what I like to do. Should be the fastest way. Just jumping this way, jumping down onto this rooftop, and making our way all the way to Fellow Gear's fireworks shop there. So once we get here, we're going to go ahead and sell some of our items here. So we're going to talk to Avery here, and we're going to see what it has for sale. And we're going to go ahead and sell our heavy armor, the Reaper's Embrace that we picked up from Catherick. And we're going to go ahead and buy all the fireworks that we can, along with an Alchemist's Fire. You can also buy Balance to Offer to get more fireworks afterwards if you want, by leveling up your Tav and then getting whatever stuff you can with the additional fireworks. But here we just want to make sure we get as much as we can. So here, this is 22 fireworks here, and that's not quite enough. So what we're going to do here is, once we barter, we're going to level up our Tav here, and we're going to make sure we select our spells here. And we should already have Darkness. If you don't have Darkness, you're going to choose it here. Doesn't matter whatever spells other than that, but we want to make sure that we do have Darkness as one of the selected spells here for our level. So once we do that, we don't have to worry about Shadowheart's level here, so we can cancel that out. And if you want to buy more fireworks here, you can. So you'll have like around 480 gold that I have here, and you can probably buy like a couple. This is a bit too much, but you can just sell whatever other items that we don't need here, for instance. So just go ahead and do that, like so, until we get enough gold here. There we go. So once you have all those fireworks, we're going to go ahead and get more fireworks from using Darkness. So make sure you have it somewhere in your toolbar here. Sometimes you can't see it, so you might need to just drag it back to spell slot. And we're going to be casting Darkness here. Now, in patch 6, they changed a couple things with how darkness works. So, if you cast it on an NPC, it might cause them to aggro, so we want to make sure we don't do that. And there's quite a lot of fireworks in like these areas that you can potentially get, but we're just going to only need one cast of darkness here to do all of it. So I cast it into the middle of this room right here, and it should be able to get all the fireworks that we need if we do it like so. If you want to do additional ones, you can do the ones here with this display case, all these woglins and squidgens, and then some of these that are hanging about. But back here, there's 2 display cases there and one more here, which has a lot of the fireworks. If you want to get even more fireworks for safety, you can also pickpocket Avery here, who has a basement key, and you can go down the hatch and grab the fireworks in the basement. You have to be careful in the basement because there's a lot of traps there. It can be triggered, so you just have to be pretty careful about all of these things. So we're going to be casting darkness here, and it's going to look like so. So I cast it here. And as long as you don't cast it on any NPCs, they won't get angry at you. And then you're going to hide and steal all the fireworks in this area. So all the ones in the display cases, the ones that are hanging up on the wall. And then you don't need the box of fireworks since those are not able to be used, so make sure you don't take those. But you should have about 60 fireworks is what we recommend. This right here is 50, so you can go ahead and, for instance, pickpocket Avery and grab the key. So it should be the cellar key here, and you have a pretty decent shot at success for it. So once you do that, you're down the hatch, and now here there's a bunch more fireworks here. There's this display case, and then the ones in this wooden chest and stuff. And there are traps. It's fine if you trigger the traps, so I'll intentionally trigger them here, for instance, where it's going to start an explosion. And even though you go down, what you can do is just do a short rest, and then you'll heal up from it. And that'll be just fine. And you'll still be able to grab whatever fireworks that are in the display cases and stuff. So, once again, just go ahead, search the chests and stuff. You can grab the fires. There's more display cases. I believe there's 3 here. And that should have, like, enough fireworks that we don't need to worry about it. In fact, right here I'm overfilling on the fireworks since you only need, I believe, 50 is what we want to get. So just one cast of darkness should be enough. But just in case, if you want to be certain that you kill the brain, just get all the fireworks that you can. And it doesn't matter if you are lower health here, since there's no reason to worry about your health totals or amounts here. And then you can just leave through this set of double doors here. And that should put you at the side entrance outside of Fellow Gear's workshop here. So normally what we would do is do a jump through the wall of this building here with a mash jump or the speedrun route. But saves around like 5 seconds, so it's not too much worth mentioning. It's just a spam jump like before. And now we're just going to make our way to Orin. So to get to Orin, we're just going to jump behind the back of this fireworks shop, and we're going to jump to the other side. From here, we're just jumping this direction, onto this roof, onto this roof, and just keep jumping in this direction. So once we get here, we're going to go to this manhole here, which is the closest place to the direction of where Orin is. I'm going to go ahead, jump to this other side here, into the sewers. And now here, this is where we're going to reach a pretty important part in the run here. So normally, we're going to have our first interaction with Orin here. So I'm going to just go ahead and make a save here, just in case. Just to demonstrate it. But Orin's going to be walking in this direction when she spawns in, and she's going to be transformed as Yenna. And we don't want her to transform back into Orin, because we're going to defeat Yenna, who only has 6 health, rather than Orin, who has 120 plus health. I think it's higher on, like, harder difficulties. So we're just going to go ahead here and make sure that we have one of our items here, which is either this mysterious artifact and the pixie bell. So I like to use the pixie bell, but you can use either one of them. And what you're just going to do is click on that item. So for the bell, we just left click it, or if you have the mysterious artifact, you can right click and use it. Right now it's attached to Jaheira, but that's fine, it doesn't matter either way. But what's going to happen is we're going to pre-move walking into the trigger here by left clicking, and then just mash clicking the bell, so we entered the cutscene with the bell. And what's going to happen is Yenna's going to try to talk to us, and because we're already in a cutscene, Yenna will get stuck and not transform back. So, for instance, if I use the bell here, it's going to start the Pixie Bell cutscene. So we're just going to basically do that while Yenna's running in. And you'll see the quest notification pop up, and that's when we will do that. So I'm going to demonstrate it right here. So I left click, we hit the trigger, we see Yenna appear, and then we click to get the cutscene with the pixie.
Anything you want to say?
So once we go here, we're just going to leave, and you'll notice that Yenna is just standing there and is basically just the way that we want it to be. Now, it's important not to talk to Yenna here, because otherwise Orin will transform back, and that is something that we don't want to have in the run. To do the Orin skip on controller here, where we have her not transform into Yenna, what I would suggest doing is turning on turn-based mode, and what we're going to do is move to an area, and then while we're doing that, we're going to open the character sheet and quickly use the bell. So once I click move to here, I'm going to press A, and then quickly do the bell press. And if you do it correctly, you'll hit the cutscene here with the pixie.
Anything you want to say?
And we're going to just do the same thing where we just leave it. And same thing happens here with Yenna. So it's entirely the same thing, you just have to be careful with how you do all your menuing and stuff here. From here, we're just going to keep making our way forwards. We're going to jump to the circle here, and we're just going to go ahead and use our firebolt on the hanging corpse. This will open this door here to the temple. And we're just going to go ahead and recast our spells of Enhanced Leap, Featherfall, and Invisibility. If you don't have any spell slots, make sure you do have Arcane Recovery, so just keep that in mind. We're going to cast Invisibility, and we're just going to keep making our way forwards here. So just jump down, and because we're invisible, we don't start this fight here in this area, which is a pretty annoying fight to deal with. And we're just going to head to this metal door, and we're going to jump down all the way to the bottom here. And this should be where the ancient sigil circle is for the Temple of Bhaal waypoint. and that's pretty important to get since we'll be using it with Jaheira later on. Now here we're going to go ahead and deviate from the old route. Before you could do a Misty Step through this door, but as of patch 6, a lot of settings have changed with that, so you can no longer just Misty Step through the door. And instead, what we're going to do is grab a chest here, which is right up top here. So this wooden chest is what we're going to be using. And we're going to be picking it up and jumping back down with it and heading to the door. So now at the door here, we're going to go ahead and use the chest that we picked up and place it at the right side of the door. And what we're going to be doing with this is we're going to use the chest to clip through it. And you might want to make a safety save here because you could get stuck in the door if you do it slightly incorrectly. So just be careful with how we place it here. So I don't like placing it in the center because the center of the door is kind of solid, but the right side here, for instance, is around where I would suggest to put it. Make sure that the chest is flush with the door, so it's as close to the door as you can get it. And what we're going to do is walk slightly in this direction towards this wall here, and we're just going to jump through the door with a mash jump. So similar to all the other wall clips that we do in the run, we're just going to hold shift, mash Z, and use scroll wheel up. Same thing that we do on controller is with the up on the D-pad and A to just mash the jump. So I'm going to be doing it on keyboard here just to demonstrate it. So it should look something like this when it's done correctly. You don't need Enhanced Leap and Featherfall for this, but I would suggest having it on since it does boost your jump distance and gives you a bit more height, but it shouldn't really matter too much in the long run. And once again, you do want to jump so that you're going to land in the middle of this chest here. So I like to aim, for instance, right around here, do your mash jump, and you should be able to just clip through the wall by just walking in the direction, similar to how we do all the gate clips in Act 2. From here, we're just going to keep making our way forwards to Orin, so you should be able to have enough Enhanced Leap and Featherfall to just jump all the way down here. And here you'll see that Orin is still transformed as Yenna with 5 health here. From here, we're going to make sure that we have a power weapon. This is either like Ketheric's Warhammer, the Shar's Spear here. Just any one of those items would do. So I normally use Ketheric's Warhammer here. And what we're going to do here is kill Orin by using a swing here. But this is done by using a glitch where we're going to toggle on our passives here. So with our passive of non-lethal attacks, it will be able to knock out Yenna, which effectively counts as a kill. So normally your one swing should do enough damage on Yenna. It has a 75% chance of hitting. And if you want to just guarantee more damage, you can use Dip on one of these flames to deal an extra 1d4 burning damage. If you miss the swing on Yenna, you can turn on turn-based mode very quickly afterwards to take a second swing. And if you fail both swings, all you have to do is wait a couple minutes, and then Yenna should reappear here. So, as long as you just wait, you'll, no matter what, get a kill on Orin as Yenna here. So I'm just going to swing outright here just to demonstrate what it should look like. Once again, make sure you're toggle non-lethal attacks is on. This is very crucial. And once we do that, you should be able to knock out Yenna in one hit. So right there, I missed my swing, but you can see I turned on turn-based mode right after that happened, and I can take a second swing. And if it doesn't work, then we can just turn off turn-based mode, and there we go. So my swing was really delayed there from just the animation getting buggy, but yeah, that is Orin defeated. So now we're just into these cutscenes. We're just going to right-click mute them, say you're not ready to skip that as soon as possible, and make sure that you have Orin's Netherstone. So you should basically automatically get it. As you can see here, I now have Ketherix and Orin's Netherstone here, and Jaheira should have Gortash's. So once we do that, we don't have an easy way of going back outside because there's no Misty Step anymore. So what we're going to be doing is switching to Jaheira. And with Jaheira, we're going to just have her go to the Temple of Bhaal here. From here, Jaheira is going to be making our way to the Morphic pool. And this is just jumping in the north direction here. So we're going to jump on these stairs, jump on top of this wooden or brick thing, jump all the way to this edge here. And now here, this is where things could get kind of sketchy. So all of these rats will aggro you if you are too slow, but normally it's not a big issue. All I do is do one jump here and another one all the way to the other side of the dock. Make sure you do not click on the water, and it should look something like this. We jump here, and if you're worried about time, you can turn on turn-based mode as you jump here, so you don't have to worry about hitting any of these rats, at least having them aggro against you, and that's very annoying. So once we do that, all we do is click on the skiff and say we want to proceed, and we're headed into the Morphic pools. So once we enter the Morphic pools here, we're going to have Shadowheart die here. So Shadowheart's going to just jump into the water here, and this is so we can skip a cutscene with the Netherbrain. So just have Shadowheart die. And now with Jaheira, we're going to have Jaheira make her way forwards here. So what we're going to do is cast Enhanced Sleep and Featherfall, and we're going to walk to the very edge of this water. And from here, we're going to toggle our tactical camera, and we're going to move our camera just so we can angle to this rock here, which we can see it's pretty hard to jump to. And it does say path is interrupted sometimes there, but you can jump manually here. It's just a very difficult spot to find. If you're too slow about it, you can just recast the spells, but it should work out just fine. And it is a lot easier if you do a mash jump with this. And once again, this is a pretty hard spot to find, but it should be around this area here. So once we jump to this side, this is basically one of the treasure rooms that you get for breaking these stones here. And we're going to just jump across these stones here through this open gap here. And that's just done with a jump of Enhanced Sleep here. And we're just going to jump across around to where this torch is. From there, you'll get constitution checks here, so this is where your high constitution comes in. If you have high constitution and you get lucky, you should be able to skip past all of these checks here. Very occasionally, you'll get enemies aggro to you. All these brains might aggro onto you in this area. But as long as you jump across this gap during that time, they will unaggro and you'll be left just fine here. From here, what we're going to do is jump to this side, And we're going to start making our way to the bottom at this pit here where the Netherbrain shows up. And to skip all of the like cutscenes with the Netherbrain like speaking and everything and slowing down, we're just going to straight up jump all the way to the very end here. And that should trigger the cutscene to start, and because Shadowheart is dead, it skips all of it. From here, we just right-click to skip the Emperor's dialogue. Just choose whatever dialogue option. And here, we are now in the astral plane. From here, we're going to switch to our Tav, and our Tav is going to start making our way down all the way to the Emperor. And we're going to make sure that we don't stomp on his head by accident because you can aggro him. And because all the Githyanki are dead, we don't have to worry about any of these other issues concerning them, unlike before where we would leave them alive. And here we're just going to talk to the Emperor, and the Emperor is going to give us this cutscene here. So here, we do not want to give the stones to the Emperor, and these are very important dialogue options that we need to take. So we want to wield the stones ourselves to become an Illithid. That way we don't have to rely on the Emperor tagging along with us. So we choose option 3. And Jaheira is going to say something, and we're going to quote-unquote think about it. And we talk to the Emperor again, and we're going to make ourselves a Mind Flayer. So make me a Mind Flayer, and open your mind to the Parasite. So from here, that makes us turn into an Illithid, which gives us the power of both Levitate, which is super important, along with Fierce Perilous Stakes, which would also be pretty useful in previous runs with magic missiles. And in Glitchless, we also use it for throwing fireworks. But there's multiple different ways you can use it. In this run, I'm going to do the very basic strat of just placing all the fireworks down, so we don't have to worry about that. Just the Levitate is important.
How much farther can I go?
From here, before we enter the portal to the High Hall, we're going to betray the Emperor by either swinging or shoving at him. Basically, we just want to make sure that he's angry at us. And because we're Illithid, we don't get in game over because we have an Illithid on our team, which is me, so our Tav here, and that lets us beat the game without the Emperor tagging alongside us. And this is just so he doesn't get in the way of our fights here. So we shove the Emperor, he's going to get angry at us, and we're going to be able to just follow him through the portal here. So now we're in the final sequence of the game in the upper city, and what we're going to do here is make sure that you have all your items. So you should have all your fireworks. So I have a bunch of them here. In fact, I have a bunch in excess. And we're going to also make sure that we have the invisibility potion. And this was from Lae'zel in Act 2. So make sure that you can find it. It's generally in a backpack here. So make sure that you have that with your Tav here as well. So once you have all the items that you need, so all the fireworks, the potion of invisibility, and the alchemist's fire, we're going to go ahead and start making our way forwards here. So before we do that, we're going to have Jaheira jump off the edge as well here. This is so that she doesn't get in the way of our cutscene here, and we're just going to have her jump off the edge.
Can't give up now.
From here, with our Tav, we're just going to start making our way forwards with Enhanced Sleep Featherfall for jumps. Because we have Levitate already, it is a bit slower to levitate around rather than jumping. But once again, we can just walk up to these double doors. And we talk to Withers here, who's like, wow, we don't have any friends. but that's fine. We're just making our way through here. For here, if you feel like you don't have enough explosives, you can also talk to Noel here and get a couple smoke powder bombs. So this can be helpful. And if you need any spell slots, for instance, if you need additional invisibility slots, you can get these potions as well. They're very expensive, but you can sell off a couple of your excess items that you don't need for the run to get more slots. And we do already have like max slots and everything, so we don't need to worry about any of that. From here, we're going to start making our way up and over here. So we're going to levitate all the way to the top of this rooftop. And this is where things can get kind of scary. So there's going to be guards that are patrolling around, and some have sea invisibility, and you want to avoid them at all costs here. So from here, we're going to make sure that we have our spells casted: Enhanced Leap, Featherfall, and Invisibility. And we're just going to go ahead and keep making our way forwards here. And we're going to try not to go anywhere near this guy, which is one of them. And then there should be another party of them that appears here. So we just have to be careful of them. They can detect you from far away. So just as long as you're not in their radius, that is fine. And you can afford to be a bit slow here if you want to play safe here. And if you do fail a saving throw of being seen, sometimes, like there for instance, you don't even trigger combat if you are lucky. So it is very scary, and you're less likely to have that happen if you're fast. And yeah. Once we reach this area, this is the area behind the brainstem. You can't do any of the old strats before, like turning into the frog, or jumping straight through the brainstem up top, or using Misty Step. So what we're going to do instead is a casual route here where we're going to levitate all the way here and all the way through this hole in the window. And that's going to be done by just casting Invisibility. And to give yourself the most time, walk up towards the top of these steps, but not all the way through. Cast Invisibility, and when we walk here, we should hit the turn-based mode cutscene with the Nautiloid here. And once this happens, we're going to just levitate all the way to the directions that we need. So we're in turn-based mode right now, but we can just go ahead and leave it. We are invisible still, and we're just going to be levitating all the way to the other side here. Levitating up in this direction. And levitating all the way to the top here. So this hits the final cutscene here with the brainstem. And here, this is where a big part of patch 6 is pretty rough to run with. Because now, if you're using invisibility while interacting with this brainstem, you will lose invisibility when you do it, and you'll start combat at the top. But to get around it, we're going to do a couple interesting things here. So what we're going to do is use the invisibility potion from Act 2, and we're going to drop it on the ground next to us here. And what we're going to do is cast Mage Hand on the ground. And what this is going to do is we're going to cast Mage Hand, we're going to enter the brainstem here, and what that's going to do is get us into the cutscene already, and then we're going to switch out of the cutscene by clicking on one of our dead characters here, and then clicking on our Mage Hand. And then using that Mage Hand to throw this potion of invisibility onto both our Tav and the Mage Hand. So before we do that, we're going to make sure that we have Enhanced Leap Featherfall active, just so we can get across the area faster, but it's not completely necessary. So we're just going to go ahead and do that for safety. So cast all your spells, and then we're going to cast Mage Hand right next to us. We're going to interact with the brainstem and say, yes, we're ready to face the Netherbrain. Do not skip the cutscene. We're going to switch our character to one of our dead characters here. We're going to switch to our Mage Hand, and we're going to throw the Potion of Invisibility here onto both our Tav and our Mage Hand here. So it should look something like this. And even if it misses, we still become invisible. So from here, we switch back to our character, skip the cutscene, and we should be in the upper area while invisible. Now here you're on a timer, so make sure you go past this area quickly. There's occasionally enemies with C invisibility and stuff, but we don't need to worry about that as long as they're not here. And be careful of any of them with Spirit Guardians, because they can also interact with you. So from there, we're going to use the Karsus Compulsion there to activate the Netherbrain, the Crown of Karsus there. And because we're invisible, we surprise all the enemies in the area. And that just makes it so that we skip the 2 turns that it normally takes to open the portal and enter it. And we're already into this end sequence here. From here, there's multiple options that you do have to defeat the Netherbrain, but I can show you the safest and the most easiest option right here. Some options that you have are using Fierce Perilous Stakes and throwing a ton of fireworks at it, just at the ground around it. And because we're high up and we have high ground advantage from that, it makes your fireworks deal multiplicative damage. But it can be weird because of how fireworks work in this game. Another safer way, which I will show here, is just levitating down all the way to the bottom, and try not to use as much movement as you can, because what we're going to do is levitate all the way down, walk as far away from the fireworks as we can, and then blow them up with the Alchemist's Fire. So, yeah. If you are scared about blowing yourself up along with the fireworks, you can also pass a turn to do it, and it will lose around a minute or so for all these platforms and stuff and all the cutscenes and things that happen, but it is 100% safe to do it that way. So I'll demonstrate it here. I levitate all the way down to the bottom. I'm going to drop all our fireworks next to the Netherbrain here. Doesn't matter how accurate we place them because there is a pretty large explosion radius. You can place even more if you have them, but you only really need some of them. And if you have any other bombs or other things, you can also place them down. It does help. And we're going to just go ahead and throw an Alchemist's Fire onto this pile of fireworks here. But before we do that, we want to make sure we move as far away as possible. So I like to move this way. And it might look a bit scary here, and it could possibly not work from this range. But once again, you can end your turn, wait for all of these cutscenes to appear. For instance, I can just demonstrate it right here anyways. So the Netherbrain will just talk. It will take a bit of time here. And then the platforms will start being chosen to be broken. But yeah, it takes a little while for this to run, but this is very, very safe. So once all of these things are done and chosen, you can see it does even do Aegis of Absolute. So it's immune to all damage it took in the previous round, but that doesn't matter, we didn't do any damage before. And you can walk even further away and stuff, you can levitate away. But from here, we're just going to throw an Alchemist's Fire onto this pile of fireworks. You can also use your Ray of Frost cantrip, for instance, on them. But I like to use the fire here, and just throw it at the fireworks here, like in this area here. So once you throw it, it should blow up all of them. And then the Netherbrain is dead, and honor mode is completed. From there, we get the final cutscene. We just right-click all the way through, we click Dominate the Brain, and that causes the game to end with the final credits scene here. So that is it for this speedrun and achievement tutorial for patch 6 on honor mode, and hope you all enjoyed it. I will probably make a glitch list tutorial since there's quite a few things that are unique in that run, but it does take quite a while to make these tutorials, and the routes might change with patch 7 soon around the corner. So yeah, we'll see what happens, and yeah, hope you all enjoyed. If you really enjoyed these videos and stuff, you can support me on my Ko-Fi or my Fourth Wall website that have been created. It's completely not necessary for you, it's just there if you want to just have any additional contribution or anything. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and have fun with completing honor mode in Baldur's Gate 3.